Chapter 29. He who is often reproved yet stiffens his neck will suddenly be broken beyond healing.
Good morning. I'm looking kind of oily today. What's up with my face? Hi, everybody. Let me see if I'm on. I'm having a tough time with my throat, you guys. For some reason, my throat is all like in pain and stuff when I wake up. It's very frustrating. For some But I'm here and this is day 29, August 29th. It's my sister's birthday. Happy birthday, Sophia. August 29th, you guys. We are in the home stretch. August 29th, that is the 29th day of our Proverbs study. Let's go. All right, I'm a little oily today for some reason. It's looking shiny over here. But good morning, good morning, good morning. Proverbs chapter 29. Here we come. This is my calendar. All right, guys, if you are catching me on YouTube or if you are just now catching this, we are in day 29 of our 31-day Wisdom for Moms Back to School Challenge. Ooh, you guys, we've been here all week studying and looking at, meditating on, pondering, learning from, thinking about the book of Proverbs, the wisdom of God, recognizing that it is God's wisdom that we need in order to be wise, in order to prosper, in order to reign in life, in order to do what God has called us to do. What we don't want is to walk around thinking that we're right and we're not. Walk around thinking that we're doing the best and we're not. Being good moms means being wise moms, having wise reactions, having wise responses, and being able to guide our children. So much in the Proverbs tells children to listen to their parents. So, what does that say about how the parents should be? We should be wise. If wisdom is listening to your parents, then parents, we should be wise. We should be pursuing wisdom. And Proverbs teaches us over and over again that wisdom is the principal thing. You want to know wisdom? You want wisdom? Okay, wisdom is that you need wisdom. And if you know that you need wisdom, then that's wisdom, right? It's wisdom to know. It's wisdom to know that you need wisdom. So sorry about that. I just felt like I don't want that randomness in my background. Anyway, so today we are reading Proverbs chapter 29. Very excited about that because there's some good stuff in here and there's some tough stuff in here. Some tough stuff, guys. So let's go. Chapter 29. He who is often rebuked and hardens his neck will suddenly be destroyed, and that without remedy. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when a wicked man rules, the people groan. Whoever loves wisdom makes his father rejoice, but a companion of harlots wastes his wealth. The king establishes the land by justice, but he who receives bribes overthrows it. A man who flatters his neighbor spreads a net for his feet. By transgression, an evil man is snared, but the righteous sings and rejoices. The righteous considers the cause of the poor, but the wicked does not understand such knowledge. Scoffers set a city aflame, but wise men turn away wrath. If a wise man contends with a foolish man, whether the fool rages or laughs, there is no peace. The bloodthirsty hate the blameless, but the upright seek his well being. A fool vents all his feelings, but a wise man holds them back. If a ruler pays attention to lies, all his servants become wicked. The poor man and the oppressor have this in common: the Lord gives light to the eyes of both. The king who judges the poor with truth, his throne will be established forever. The rod and rebuke give wisdom, but a child left to himself brings shame to his mother. When the wicked are multiplied, transgression increases, but the righteous will see their fall. Correct your son, and he will give you rest. Yes, he will give delight to your soul. There is no revelation. Mm-mm. Where there is no revelation, the people cast off restraint. But happy is he who keeps the law. Revelation over here says, or prophetic vision. Where there is no prophetic vision, the people cast off restraint. A servant will not be corrected by mere words, for though he understands, he will not respond. Do you see a man hasty in his words? There is more hope for a fool than for him. He who pampers his servant from childhood will have him as a son in the end. An angry man stirs up strife, and a furious man abounds in transgression. A man's pride will bring him low, but the humble in spirit will retain honor. Whoever is a partner with a thief hates his own life. He swears to tell the truth, but reveals nothing. The fear of man brings a snare, but whoever trusts in the Lord shall be safe. Many seek the ruler's favor, but justice for man comes from the Lord. An unjust man is an abomination to the righteous, and he who is upright in the way is an abomination to the wicked. And that is Proverbs chapter 29. All right, let's go. Looking through here. That first one is a real doozy, right? A person who is often you're often rebuked, you're often corrected, but you always stiffen your neck. You I think that means you always defend yourself. You always fortify yourself against any correction. You never are teachable, you never receive, you never listen. What you do is you are always defensive and you think you're right. You can't really think of a time when you were wrong. If you can't think of a time in the last 6 months that you were wrong about something, then you might be one of these people who just is stiff necked. And the scripture says that you will suddenly be destroyed. Um, in a different version, it says you will snap. Like you've been bending and you will suddenly snap, like a tree snap, right? And so you will suddenly be destroyed, and that without remedy. Like it won't be like you can bend and then get back up, and you can bend and get. This is a teachable person. You can bend and get back up. But a person who's not teachable, you snap, and then you're not repairable. You'll be destroyed, right? And that's a lot. I think about, I was reading and listening to this proverb, and this thought came to my mind. What if we view our home as our kingdom? So as we read through this scripture and we learn about the king and his servants and you know, the kingdom, what if we view our home that way? This little thing is bouncing and it's annoying me. Let me fix it. I'm not exactly sure. All right. Um, so if we think about the servants, these are like the people that we employ to teach our kids. That means teachers. If you go to school, the teachers. If you are a homeschooler, teachers and tutors that you hire, classes that you put them in, even maids, if you might have somebody come in to help you with your house. Let's see, other people, just people, in ministry, your church people, like those, they're not your servants for real, but they serve your home, they serve your homeschool, right? And so they might be employees, they might be neighbors, they might be whatever they are. But if you think about that as your surroundings in your kingdom, right? And then you think about your children and you think about your decisions that you're making about who you're bringing in to influence them and how they are interacting with your children and your household. I think you will have a very interesting perspective on some of the proverbs that are given here in the scripture. So he's talking about here being teachable, right? And that includes us. If you think about us, are we teachable? Am I teachable? Do I receive rebuke well? I don't. I feel like I receive it well after I've had a chance to think about it. But like I think most of us maybe, but I'll just say me, my first reaction is to be defensive, to explain why I did something and to be like, no, I didn't, that's not true about me or whatever, right? But I think that after I'll sit with it and ponder it and be like, okay, fine, I'll take that. I'll take that piece of it. So I definitely am better now than I was when I was younger because when you're young, you think you're right about everything. Um, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. Okay, think about that in your home. When you are righteous, when you and your husband are doing right, when you guys are um getting the things done that need to get done and are working diligently and are doing all the things that the proverbs equate with righteousness, doesn't your household go much better? Don't your children do much better? But when a wicked man rules, the people groan. Think about when you're not being so great. Maybe you're in a funky mood. Maybe you're not actually doing right. Don't your people groan? Don't your kids and the people around you, don't they groan? Like think about that in the light of how you want to live in your house, right? Making sure that the people that you yourself and the people that you surround yourself with and your kids are functioning as best and as often as possible righteously. Because then we rejoice. The household is going to rejoice, right? it's harder, but it's easier. It's nicer, right? It's more work, but it's there's ease and peace in your home. Whoever loves wisdom makes his father rejoice, but a companion of harlots wastes his wealth, right? So in the Proverbs, we have seen harlots, the adulterous woman, all those. We've seen those, and we know that literally that is the case, but we also see it as the ways of the world, the influences of the ungodly. And so, if we read it that way, whoever loves wisdom makes his father rejoice, but the companion of foolishness and the ungodly wastes his wealth, right? Let's think about that. If you love wisdom, if your children love wisdom, don't they make you happy? But if they go out and waste their money on the things of the world and waste their time on the things of the world and waste their energy and their resources on the things of the world, doesn't that make you feel like it's just such a waste, right? We want in our homes, we want to teach our children to love wisdom. And then the king establishes the land by justice, but he who receives bribes overthrows it. Let's think about this in our home, right? We're the king. Let's say we're the king. And we exact justice. We listen to our kids. We talk with them. We hear them out. We give them our advice. We help them to make sound decisions. Doesn't it go well with us? But when let me tell you something. When the worst decisions that I made were the ones where I negotiated. I negotiated. Okay, fine. If you really want to do that, you need to do this, but you haven't done it yet. But the party is tonight, or the event is tonight, or whatever. So, how much do I have to get done in order for me to be able to go to that? I should have said, you cannot go to that because you did not get your work done. And the next thing you want to go to, you cannot go to it until you get your work done. So here's the deal: you need to do your work on a regular basis so that when things come up that you want to go to, you can go. That's what I should have done. That's what I should have done. That's not what I did. Okay, here's the deal. You can get this little bit done, and you go to the party, but you have to promise, sign your name. We did all kinds of stuff. You will get this done by such a day. She didn't do it. She didn't do it. Learn from my mistakes. Make them pay in advance. Who else does in the world? You got to pay in advance. Don't take bribes. I know it's not a real bribe, but you see what I'm saying? This is wisdom. Like, this is wisdom. Establish your household in justice. It's fair. Do what's fair. Do what's right. All right. A man who flatters his neighbor spreads a net for his feet. That's just saying, like, flattery is not kingdom. Compliments, encouragement, those things. But flattery is not kingdom. Flattery is empty. Flattery is just making people feel better about something that's really not true, that really may or may not be true, right? And all you're doing is, it says, you're setting a net for yourself. You are making them believe that something is true, maybe that you love them or that you really want to be around them or that you really will support them and then when the time comes, it's like you said and you can't do it because it's not righteous, right? Or it wasn't real. It wasn't um authentic. And so we don't do flattery in the kingdom. Flattery is not a kingdom characteristic. By transmission, okay, let me see. There's something in here that I was like, I really think this one stands out for me. Verse 11. A fool vents all his feelings, or in another version it says spirit. A fool vents all his spirit, but a wise man holds them back. A wise man holds them back. In other words, a fool just says everything that comes to his mind. He has no restraint. You know all the things about him, all the stuff. Why? Because the abundance of the heart, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. So if his heart is foolish, everything that comes out of him is going to be foolish, right? And now you know it because he has no restraint. A fool doesn't understand that he should hold his peace and listen. But if you have wisdom, you hold your peace. You sit back, you observe, you listen. And even if you were wrong, you have much more opportunity to change your mind before anybody knows you were wrong because you held your peace and you sat and you listened and you observed and you learned, you received, right? And this is parenting 101. Guys, this is parenting 101. Oftentimes, I think that because I'm the mom, I know. And the truth is that I do know more because I've had more experiences. But it doesn't mean that I understand everything that's going on in my child's life, in their heart, in their emotions. And it's best for me. I have found that as a parent, it really does work to stop talking and to listen and to not just let them talk, like actually listen. And when you actually listen, you will find that there are things that they say that betray their hearts. And when I say betray, I mean reveal, right? Reveal their hearts, and you now have their hearts. You now know what's really going on. Do you really want to go to that party? Or are you just really scared that somebody's going to go there and talk about you and you want to be able to defend yourself? You don't even like that person. Do you really care? Are you just having FOMO, right? Um, are you really sad or are you just being manipulative? Are you really are you really concerned? Or do you really just want something from me? You know, like you get to sit and listen and be aware of even like friendships, right? Were you right to do that or were you wrong? A lot of times Maya was in a tiff, in a dither, or in some kind of situation with a friend, and she was just dead wrong. And I would just listen and I would just be like, ooh, my daughter is messy. She is messy. She does not understand how to just keep her mouth shut. Just be quiet. You don't have to say everything. This is what scripture teaches. You don't have to say everything that comes to your mind. And that's something you really do learn over time, you guys. Like as a kid, of course, I would, mommy, look, every little thing, mommy, look. And you're like, look at what? Like, that was nothing, right? Because they want you to see everything, they want you to know everything. They are simple and they are, in a very biblical sense of the word, foolish. They want everything to be out there. But as we get older, we recognize that some things are worth keeping to ourselves, right? And I mean, that's parenting 101. You got to learn how to listen. You got to learn how to listen and not be moved, not be emotionally shattered by what they tell you. You know, my daughter has told me some things that have hurt my soul, things, choices that she's made, things that she has done that I'm like, but I thought we taught you better than that. And you went ahead and did that anyway. And it really hurt my soul. But you know what I did? I sat there and I listened and I was like, there's nothing I can do about that. I did all that I could do and you made a dumb decision. And I pray that it does not come back to bite you. And I pray that you don't follow through with that decision, right? I hold my peace. And what that does is it makes her more likely to come back to me again, right? Because here's the thing, you guys, if we unveil all our spirit, we have an emotional response to something that our child says, and it is the worst. Why would you do something like that? That's stupid. How could you do that? Why would you think that? And you go crazy. You may be being authentic, right? You might actually have those reactions and have those feelings. But what happens is you become a not safe space for your child. They are not interested in you blowing up at them. And so if we don't learn how to hold our spirit and be wise and hold our tongue, we will lose the heart of our children. We will not be the listening ear that we desire to be. You can't just tell a child, you can tell me anything. You have to actually believe that they can tell you anything and be ready for them to tell you anything. You have to prove that they can tell you anything over and over again. You have to prove I can tell my mom anything. And she'll tell me that she's hurt or she'll tell me that she's disappointed, but I could tell her anything. That's the kind of mom we want to be. And you know what that means? That means that we have to be people who don't just let our spirit out there. We don't just voice and vent our entire soul. Yeah, don't vent. Don't be a fool and vent all your feelings. You have to hold your peace. You have to be wise. You have to be steady. Let your child go on the roller coaster. Your child's gonna be, oh my gosh, I'm angry, I'm sad, I'm depressed, I'm upset, I'm this, that, and the other. And you got to be the person that's like, she's gonna be all right. She's gonna be all right. And I'm gonna just be here. And I learned to ask my daughter, is there anything I can do to make you feel better? Is there anything I can bring you? Is there anything I can do? Can we get out of the house? Can I take you somewhere? Can we go do something? Hey, sometimes I'll be like, hey, get up, we're going somewhere. We got someplace to go. But I have to be that steady hand because she's gonna go on the roller coaster with or without me. I might as well opt out. I'm gonna let you go without me. We gotta be steady. That's wisdom, guys. The rod and rebuke give wisdom, but a child left to himself brings shame to his mother. Yeah, that's a good one. We've got to discipline our children. And the world wants us to believe that discipline cannot be physical. And the church is, we are kind of silent on this one because, we just believe in spanking. But but I feel like the truth is somewhere in the middle. Like, abuse is abuse, period. Some people think anytime you strike your child, that's abuse. I disagree. I believe that a well deserved, well placed spanking is good discipline for young children. I also believe that it is not a good idea to make that either your first choice, your first go to, or anything that you do on in an often or regular basis, right? But what I am, that's my daughter, and I got to get off. Um, I would say that we use spanking. We've used spanking before. And I would say that this scripture is basically saying that you must correct your children. Whatever you choose to do. You choose to do a timeout. Timeouts didn't work in my house. My kid will go put herself in a timeout. If you choose to use any kind of, whatever discipline you choose to use, you must discipline your child. You must. Otherwise, that person is going to end up being a shame to you. And then right on down here, it reiterates it. Correct your son, and he will give you rest. Yes, he will give delight to your soul. This is, again, parenting 101. Proverbs chapter 29, parenting 101. We must correct our children. We must correct them. We have to rebuke them, correct them, teach them. So we must, it's a service to them to teach them truth, to rebuke them, to correct them, right? Otherwise, we will have no rest, we will have no delight, and we will have shame. Our children will bring us shame. And we see it. We see it all the time, right? And we see people trying to change their expectations, change their theology, change whatever, just so that their children don't bring them shame. And the reality is, some of that stuff that those kids are doing is shameful. And you out there talking about how proud you are of your child, it's just, it's foolishness. You shouldn't be proud of them. You shouldn't be proud of them. You should be proud of them always that they're your child, but you shouldn't be proud of some of the things that they're out there doing because you didn't rebuke them, you didn't give them wisdom, or maybe you did, you tried to, and the world got to them, and they did not embrace wisdom. But the things that they are into, the things that they are doing, they are not cause for rejoicing. They are shameful, and what we need to do is continue to give loving wisdom, try to guide them, pray that the Lord would get a hold of them and show them the way. Like, that's the best we can do. We can't walk around and shame ourselves. We can't be like, oh, in the past I did some wrong things and didn't do right and wasn't wise, and therefore I'm ashamed for the rest of my life. No, you've got to pick yourself up and then begin to be a beacon of light for your children, no matter how old or grown they are, right? So that you can get rest and you can have delight in your soul. And then right back to hasty words, right? We can go right back to hasty words. Verse 11 says, a fool vents all his feelings, but a wise man holds them back. And verse 20 says, do you see a man hasty in his words? There is more hope for him, more hope for a fool than for him. In other words, don't be so quick to speak. Wish I had learned this years ago. Hold your peace. Don't be so quick to speak. Listen, observe, and respond in wisdom. And that, again, parenting 101. Listen, observe, and respond in wisdom. There's a lot here that can be applied to parenting, especially if you see your household as your kingdom. I pray that, Lord, that this is helpful and encouraging to you, and maybe even a little convicting, right? That there's some work that we need to do to be wiser in our parenting. There's so much more here. A man's pride will bring him low. Don't partner with a thief. Think about who you bring around your children, right? The fear of man is a snare. Don't be afraid of what man thinks of you. Just focus on God. Whoever trusts in the Lord shall be safe. Let's trust in the Lord, right? And there is so much here. But let's just end on that, guys. I pray that you would, I pray that we would have a yearning and a desire to know and trust in God. That's my prayer for this. I think that is the highest level of wisdom, is to have a yearning and a desire to trust in the Lord. All right. So that's it. That's it for today. It's August 29th. I'll see you here bright and early tomorrow morning, 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we will talk about Proverbs chapter 30 on the 30th day. Until then, I pray that your day is filled